Today I'm talking about social media. There are a lot of criticism today around the use of social media, including YouTubers who go on these social media free challenges and people who argue that it is ruining our lives and how mental health problems are more prevalent today because of this platform that only shows the best of our lives. And rightly so, because if you look around social media these days, it's easy to understand where these arguments are coming from. And I think personally, I would be one of those people who argue against the use of social media. But today, I would like to talk about how quitting social media is not the solution to every problem. Here is my story. For as long as I can remember, I have an internet addiction. I would browse on things like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, hours on end, and neglect my schoolwork. And I think, like with any other addiction, the way I felt was, one, I was in denial that it was a real problem. And two, I just felt like it was a black hole that was sucking me in against my will, and there was nothing that I could do to get out of it. It has made me depressed on multiple accounts, and I blamed it on the internet. I blamed my problems on the existence of social media. So I started to radically just delete all apps. I started putting restrictions on my phone, on my iPad, deleting all the social medias so that I wouldn't fall into those traps. I told myself, since I have zero willpower, might as well put up these firewalls so that I can physically control myself. And it did work, but only to a certain extent. So I would have these apps all deleted and have these timers in place whenever I need to focus. But whenever that I would be on winter vacation, summer vacation, or even just a weekend, I would get all of these apps back and just browse and consume everything that I have missed out on. Sometimes I would spend an entire morning just reading about these nonsense news and the things that people post, and I would feel really crappy about myself afterwards. So then I delete everything again, but you see, eventually I feel this urge again and I would think that I deserve a break, so I would get the apps back, and the cycle just goes on and on of me trying to physically force myself and eventually just breaking out of this control and then binge watch everything, essentially. And eventually with time and with me constantly working on improving my life, on growing up and maturing, I was able to significantly reduce the time that I spend on social media and really limit them to just the essential uses. Of course, I still consume entertainment. I get sucked in this rabbit hole once in a while, but not nearly to the same extent as before. And I have to say, with that, my life has significantly improved simply because of how much time I was able to liberate to do other things. And to think that I was able to reduce significantly one of the biggest distractions that I've had for my entire adult life, it's not nothing. It does come with a lot of benefits and gratification, but at the same time, it's not everything. Let me explain. I have been more mindful and focused, that is true, and I agree with people who have seen tremendous benefits when they step away from social media. But being more mindful away from social media made me realize that to begin with, social media wasn't the problem. Deep down, the problem is our inability to withstand boredom and our addiction to not social media, but distractions. So I might not be as addicted to social media as before. The truth is, I'm still constantly rejecting the feeling of boredom, and I'm constantly seeking other ways and other forms of stimulation so that I cannot be bored. To give you an example, I don't even remember the last time that I was able to brush my teeth for the entire duration in front of the sink. I would always go downstairs, do some cleaning, check my emails, or all kinds of other things while I'm brushing my teeth. because I guess brushing my teeth in front of the mirror is just too boring for me. Another example is whenever I'm eating alone, I always feel this urge to be listening to something or to have a video or to watch some TV. And let's say I didn't have any of those things and I just ate. It will feel very uncomfortable deep down and very unsettling. And to me, that's ridiculous because how come I cannot enjoy the process of eating alone? To me, it's just too boring and too unsettling for my noisy mind. And I've also noticed whenever I'm walking either to the bus stop or from point A to point B, if I'm waiting in line, if I'm stuck in traffic, just any moments that I'm allowed to be, I avoid being. I would check my phone, I would send a text, or just anything else that distract myself. And the mere fact that I realize this, it's a big progress because it's such a reflex that most of the time I think I'm not even conscious that I'm trying to distract myself from being bored. And it's the type of reflex that does not have any real meaning or purpose. Why do I need to check my phone while I'm walking from point A to point B? Because what else am I gonna do? Just walking? Well, that's too boring. So I think this is the root reason why whenever I try to meditate or I try to focus for an hour to work on a school project, I procrastinate and I fail because that's my innate reaction to reject those moments of focus and to constantly occupy myself and to multitask. And for me, I have a problem with this because I don't want everything to be a means to an end. I want to be doing things just for the sake of doing. And I want to enjoy things as simple as chewing my food. And I want to be able to enjoy being in touch with my body, being able to be aware and enjoy brushing my teeth or walking from one place to another. Those are really simple things, but if we're able to really enjoy those moments, they're always gonna be there. So certainly I might be pushing a little bit because those distractions are evidently far less distractive than things like social media or the internet. But if I'm being truthful, I think that I haven't improved or grown in the sense that I'm still constantly looking for distractions and I still cannot stand being. And I'm simply choosing one type of distraction over another. So moving forward, I've set some goals for myself and I would like to see if it makes a difference in my life. Number 1, so I would like to focus on one thing at a time, as much as I possibly can. And that means when I'm brushing my teeth, I would like to stay in front of the sink and just be aware of me brushing my teeth. Whenever that I'm eating alone, whether it be at home or in a public space, I would like to not go on my phone or have a video playing and just be able to eat and enjoy. The purpose of this is to enjoy each individual task as they are and not as a means to a greater purpose. To be more explicit, I'm going to be forcing myself to be more bored and to avoid multitasking whenever possible. And ultimately, I think the phrase enjoy the moment really comes down to this. I think it's going to be a really helpful thing to do for me in the long run, but I know it's going to be really hard because for our entire life, we've been multitasking and do all sorts of things to not be bored. So I'm ready to take on this challenge and see what difference it can make. So what are your thoughts on this? I'd really like to hear your opinions on the matter, and thank you for watching.